Hi, my name is Cinda Cuthbertson, and I am your student's either biology or physics uh, teacher. So I was just recording this video for back to school night to help you guys understand a little bit more about me, and if you had any questions going into our classroom. Obviously, this year is a very different year than anything we've ever done in the past. Um, it's it is We learn as we go, and I keep telling everyone that flexibility and patience are the name of the game. So let me start off by introducing myself. I am Mrs. Cuthbertson, and this is our back to school night. If you're watching this video, then you do not have to attend anything live. If you want to meet with me, you can go ahead and set up a time to meet with me either through Zoom, or we can talk on the phone, or we can just go through with email. I try to be available because it's hard enough given the situation that we have right now. All right, so let me move forward. Okay. Let me talk a little bit about myself. So I actually grew up in Sturgis, South Dakota. I am one of four children. Um, I That's where there's the big bike rally that happens every year in little old Sturgis, and I really grew up with the small town life. I'm glad to be able to bring that with me wherever I go, no matter what city I live in. I did graduate from Montana State University with a degree in microbiology and a minor in chemistry. I worked after graduating in research laboratories for 7 years in both biotech and pharmaceutical, and it was a fantastic experience. However, for me, I very much enjoyed, I was a lab manager, I was working at the bench as a laboratory assistant. And I really did like it all, but I found one of my favorite things to do was when we would have interns come in and I got to teach them, and I very much enjoyed that. And so I decided to go ahead and go back and get my teaching certificate and master's in education in 2007. So I went ahead and did that, and I haven't really looked back since. It's been great. I am entering my 14th year of teaching science. I have taught biology, chemistry, physics, and environmental science. I've taught middle school and high school, much more in high school. Uh, I've been able to teach in San Diego. We lived in North Carolina for 5 years. We lived overseas, and I was able to teach at an international school in Bogota, Colombia, Colegio Nueva Granada, which international schools overseas are places where you teach the subject that you're good in to students who someday probably they're usually bilingual. English is the language that's spoken, that's the language you teach in. You teach your subject, and oftentimes the students in those international schools are either expat students, such as from embassy or companies that are there for whatever reason, or they can also be students of the actual country you're living in, and then they will sometimes go to college in, for example, the US, Canada, Great Britain. And so I was able to teach in Bogota, Colombia for 4 years. After that, we went to Seoul, South Korea for 2 years. At Korea International School, and then we decided to come back home. And so we came home, and now I'm at Burbank High School and really enjoying it. This is my second year. So a little bit about me. So my teaching philosophy is that I do believe all students can and will be successful if they're provided with the proper tools, resources, and environment. That doesn't mean that the responsibility is off of them. They have their responsibility to know what they know and know what they do not know so well, and get the assistance and help they need. But when you provide that environment and the tools and resources, I do believe that all students can be successful in whatever subject they're taking. So with that, I don't teach a subject. I actually teach your kids. For me, my entire philosophy or teaching career changed when I came to that realization. You spend a lot of those first couple of years just really getting really good at your lessons and having the best lessons, and you prep for every day. And I suddenly realized that when I stopped worrying so much about every lesson, I guess you just get better at it over time. And I started thinking more about the kids and creating these relationships. And I was like, oh my gosh, teaching is so much easier. When you're teaching kids, you don't teach a subject. So when people ask me what I teach, it's kind of hard sometimes. I want to say I teach kids. I don't teach biology and physics. I teach people's children, and I teach individuals. I teach people. So I teach a subject, but I grow people. And I really feel that parents, administration, teachers, students, everyone needs to really work together to help students grow and become just the best people they can. Okay. So my goal is to basically promote the development of critical thinking and communication skills to really prepare my students for post-secondary success. I don't plan on them. They don't walk out of high school ready to be full-fledged adults. That's not how it works. They walk out of high school with the tools to get through the next couple of years, and they will continue to gain experience and gain knowledge and skills that will take them into their 20s and 30s and so forth. And so my job is to not turn them into adults, but to prepare them for the next stage after high school, and then give them the ability to gain that knowledge and tools that they need to become adults. I get to do that through science, which I love. So I look at science as not a set of facts to memorize. I really look at it as a gateway through which they're going to gain those universally valued skills and knowledge, and they'll refine them and hopefully become confident in their own abilities later on to continue to refine those. So I feel like I'm going to go ahead and X that out for a second. Okay. So the new science mindset, it's 3D learning, three-dimensional learning. It's what students will do, what students will know, and then how students connect the sciences. So let me go ahead and put that back. There we go. So what does 3D learning look like? The start off is the skills. So this is what students can do. And we have these next generation science standards that were basically put together by huge groups of stakeholders, professors at universities, administration, teachers, parents, even students. What do students need to learn in their K through 12 careers in science to be able to be successful later on in science? So one set of those were these skills, these science and engineering practices. And so part of my grade, 33%, is how students demonstrate mastery of those skills throughout the year. And these are skills that really asking questions, defining problems, using models, planning and carrying out investigations, analyzing and interpreting data, using mathematics and computational thinking, constructing explanations and designing solutions, engaging in argument from evidence, and obtaining and evaluating and communicating information are all practices that are not just science specific, but they are useful in every single subject that I can even think of. So I really do like to focus on these skills. The next is the content. This is what students will know. So it's what they can do and it's what they will know. And those two are tied together because they need to apply what they know using those skills. So this comes from these disciplinary core ideas for each subject. So physical science, so physics, I teach physics, and that's physical science has these four main disciplinary core ideas about which other standards come from. Life science has four. There's earth and space science, and then engineering, technology, and the application of science. So the core, the actual subject matter, is going to be 53% of the grade throughout the year. So students just demonstrate mastery of that. And then finally, the connection part. So we really try to connect our skills and our content using what we call cross-cutting concepts that really unify science and other subjects. So things that are useful in any part of your life. The ability to find patterns and understand cause and effect, scale, proportion, quantity, systems and system models, energy and matter, structure and function, and stability and change. These are concepts that are consistent in physics, they're consistent in chemistry, they're consistent in biology, they're consistent in earth science, environmental science, all of nature. These 7 cross-cutting concepts are part of that. Okay. So the benefit is that students expand their knowledge and skills, and they can compete and succeed in the world beyond high school. They gain confidence and grit to persevere. They will develop critical thinking skills and be better able to collaborate in groups towards a shared goal. Even in the time of COVID, we can still do breakout groups where students work together. And then they will be able to then obtain, evaluate, and communicate information effectively and efficiently. So the benefits is just giving them the skills that are actually highly sought after in any company that you will, any career that you have after high school. So my grading, so the percentages are pretty standard for Burbank High School. I don't think they change from class to class. My grading categories, I've talked a little bit about them. So 53% of it is the content knowledge. 35% of it are the skills. And then 12% is the final, if we have one. I think I have that as 33%. So the final is a district final. It's very hard during COVID right now to give a district final. I'm not sure how we'll have one or how that will work out. If we don't have the final, it becomes a 60-40, and it won't change the grade at all. The other thing I have in Aries that you'll find is I do have a 0% no grade formative. So certain things that students do day to day, which are just informative as to the level of their learning and the level of their mastery, things I don't want to hurt their grade, but I want them to have like a record of where they're at certain times, I will put as the no grade formative. So you may very well see grades in Aries that you would like, oh, how come that's not affecting your grade one way or another? And that's because it goes under this category of a no grade formative, and it's to let us know where everybody is, to let me know, and students know, and you know where they are in a snapshot of time in the process of learning. I do use a general rubric when I look at grades and I decide the level that students have been able to apply and use the knowledge and the skills. So we can start over here at exemplary. So a 93 to 100% for me is exemplary. I know that doesn't include the A- part of it, but I really feel like to me exemplary is A to an A+. And that's really when, it doesn't mean that students can't get an A-. They absolutely can. It's just, for me, that's high advanced versus exemplary. So that means they really demonstrate a level beyond advanced, meaning that they can apply and transfer the performance expectations and the skill, so the content knowledge and the actual skills, correctly and in depth in novel situations, so situations they have not seen before. Advanced would be where they demonstrate a high level and they can transfer and apply knowledge and skills in novel situations, but not to the depth or complexity or as correctly as a student who is exemplary. Proficient is where they are expected to be. So a proficient level is where they are not able to apply and transfer in a new situation necessarily, but they can apply it correctly in situations that are non-novel that we've already seen in class almost 100% of the time. So they understand the concept and they can use it in a situation they have seen before. Basic would be where they are partially proficient. They do understand it at a very basic level. They can apply it with some partial correctness in non-novel situations they are developing, but they do have a partial understanding or ability to use the skill or use the content. And finally, a 50 to 59% would be that they need improvement. They are unable to actually demonstrate a knowledge of that skill or be able to use that skill or be able to use the knowledge, even in situations that we have seen in class over and over again. And so that would be needs improvement. If a student doesn't do any of the work, like if they completely don't do an assignment, that would be a 0% until they actually made that up. So that's how I look at my grading rubric there. Okay, so any questions? So one of the things is where to find out what's happening in the class. So if you want the day-to-day stuff, that's Google Classroom. Parents can join Google Classroom as a guardian with their email address. So you can join if you go in as your student, as the student as your child. You can actually go to their page and you can add yourself as their guardian with your email address. I can also add you, but it doesn't happen automatically. So if you want to be added, I have about 160 students. So if you want to be added, I just need you to send me your email address in an actual email, because it doesn't let me copy and paste it from our email accounts, but just in your email, and I will put you guys in there as a guardian, and you will get a summary once a week of what the student has completed, what the grade they got, if anything was graded, and what they have not yet completed. But if you're going to go for grades, you need to always go into Aries. So not Google Classroom. So Aries is where you're going to find the grades, the attendance information, everything like that. This is my contact information. There is a Google form that is attached to this assignment that's in Google Classroom that we need you guys to fill out to let us know who watched the video, and to also let us know, well, let me know if you want a meeting or not. This whole time this webcam hasn't actually been on, and I've been talking with my hands, but that's okay. So that is me, and I have really enjoyed meeting your kids. Everyone is so strong, and this has been tough. And I would say that I am just really impressed with the resiliency, the flexibility, the patience, the questions I've got, the willingness. I mean, it's hard. It's hard in high school to reach out to your teacher sometimes, and being remote makes it even more difficult. So it's been a great experience. So thank you guys very much. And as you can see, I have planes overhead. I have people coming through the hallways. And so we just persevere on, and it's going to be a great year. Thank you guys so much. Okay.